Hello, welcome to another episode of Giggly Witches. I'm Sadie,
I'm Pam.
and we meet every week. We're still working on the intro.
I know.
We're only a few weeks, a few months in. We're still working on it.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited for today's episode because this is one of
Too.
my favorite things in the whole world. We're going to talk about crystals.
Hooray.
Hooray!
I love
Crystals!
rocks.
Rocks? Love them. What? What's your okay, I would like to know if this is a universal experience. I feel like it is for the witches. So I feel like these must have been like one of those things that like different stores could like purchase the stand to it. Because I feel like I saw this in different areas, but in my town, it was at the tea shop, which I then later on went on to work at. But the tea shop was this like just random gift shop type store, had everything in it. But they had one of those, it looked like a big well. The display was like a big well, and it was filled with rocks. And they weren't like real like crystals. They were definitely like dyed, but they were dyed
Yeah.
like hot pink and green and whatever. But there was pyrite in there. And every time we went to the mall, I would beg my mom, and they had like you paid by the size of the bag. There was like a little tiny bag and then like medium and large. And I would beg my mom, can I please dig through the rocks and fill up the bag? And I would take my little bags home and I'd organize all my little rocks. Did you have that growing up?
Yes, and I just went to the zoo however long ago it was, and I put it on my story where I was like POV, you're a witch at the zoo, and there's just like all the rocks, and they're like crazy colors, right? You're like, these
Yeah, they're
aren't
like
real.
totally dyed,
Yeah.
but like it's still fun.
Yeah. And I was just like, I've always loved those though. Like ever since
I
I was
love it.
little, I'm always just like, I just love them.
There's something about like digging through them too and like
Yeah.
seizing. You feel when I went to Old Town San Diego, which is so fun. There's like I love, and they have this in St. Augustine, and I really want to go. I love a place where it's like an old town and like the people are like dressed and pretend they're from the olden days.
Yeah.
And there's like the old schoolhouse and there's the old
Yes.
candy shop and whatever. So we went to this old town. Is it called Old Town San Diego or something like that? But it's like this.
Take my horse to the old
And I
town.
love that. Also a big fan of that. But we did this in San Diego, and you got to like they would give you like a scoop with like as though
Mm,
like what they would how they would do the to find the gold back in the day, like scooping a big scoop of like sand and sediment, and then you got to go over to like the water
and
barrels
sift
and
it.
sift through it, and there was pyrite and there was a bunch of other crystals in there. It was so fun. And it was like us girls in our late 20s, early 30s, and then a bunch of 12-year-olds and younger. And like parents that were probably like our age with their like little kids.
Yeah.
We're like, we don't
It's
care,
so
we're
funny.
witches. We need the rocks.
Yeah. I need
But
it.
10 out of 10 recommend if you're in San Diego, going to the Old Town Place. So fun to walk around. There's really good restaurants and do the mining activity. And the crystal shop there was amazing. I got like a garnet necklace, which I don't know where that is. I used to travel with it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm
Haven't seen
like,
it in a while.
wait a minute. Where the heck is that? But yeah, it was an amazing crystal store. So the crystal store at the Old Town, I think it's called Old Town San Diego, or I'm making that up. Oh no, I'm frozen. Okay, I think
No,
about it.
you're good.
And then you can do the I don't know what they called it. It's not mining, but the like gold rush activity.
Yeah.
Definitely do it.
That's
Totally
fun.
worth it. But the
Maybe we
crystal
can
store
do
there is also
St.
incredible.
Augustine.
Yeah, so there's like an old town type thing I saw in St. Augustine. I was like, I want to go.
Yeah.
The we used to go to this one. This is not interesting, but anyways, there's an old Wisconsin that I've gone to multiple times. I love it. I love it. I don't know. I think I must have. Well, I loved the Laura Ingalls Wilder books growing up. Did you ever read those?
Mm-mm.
Do you know what they are?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. It's like, so Laura is a little girl. I mean, there's a bunch of books. Um, Oh, it's what is it? Little town on the prairie, little something on the prairie.
Yeah.
There's a whole show and stuff. Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah, that's the Laura Ingalls
Little
well. Laura Ingalls.
little town.
Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Little
my
town on
grandma
the
always
prairie.
gave me those books growing up, and which are actually sometimes very terrifying, especially the winters. Those were really hard to get through in the books. They were long, scary winters.
Well, did you guys growing up play the Oregon Trail and
Yes.
died of dysentery on the Oregon Trail?
Yes. Or crossing the river.
Yeah.
That game was so good. I was just talking to my brother about this the other day on the old school, desktop computers at school. And like the
Mm-hmm.
days where they were like, oh, today we're not doing a, learning activity. It's an Oregon Trail day.
Yes.
Since then, I've tried to download the Oregon Trails app on my phone to see if it would be just as fun. It's not the same.
It's not the same. Did you
I
ever
want
play
the
Zumbinis?
OG. What is it?
Zumbinis. That was what
Uh-uh.
like one of the things my school did when like
I
elementary
don't
school.
remember
We
that.
played Zumbinis. That was the best. And I did download that app. It's on my iPad and it's fantastic. It's the exact same that I remember it.
Wow. Okay, I'll try that game. But
It's
Oregon
great.
Trail wasn't the same. I need the like OG like graphics and
Yeah, like the crappy
yeah,
graphics.
it just wasn't the same. I loved that game. Did you watch the show? Okay. All the shows are really good. So it's like Yellowstone is current times, and
Hmm.
then they have different series that are their family lineage that goes back. So I might get the years slightly off. Their years are the name of the series. I think it's 1884. Did you watch that?
Uh-uh.
It is so good, and it is literally Oregon Trails come to life.
Really?
Because they're taking wagons out west and like they're like showing crossing the river and losing some people and people getting sick and people like all the things that happen because they're literally on the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
I like literally watching it and it's actually it's so good. It's so beautifully shot. The main character, her voice is like so yummy. She kind of like narrates it as well as like the
Hmm.
show's going on. It's such a beautiful, beautiful, tragic show. But I was like, God damn, this is just like the Oregon Trail. I remember this. It was like a memories came flooding back. I was like, been there, been there.
That's rough.
But I do think I had a life, like on a homestead or something because,
Yeah.
God damn, I really like going to those olden day things. When I was
Dang.
little, I always had an obsession with, I always think of it as the olden days. And I saw like there's tons of Amish and Mennonite communities around me. Um, my my grandparents, like all their neighbors are Amish families. And so, but I didn't understand what that meant when I was little. So I was like the olden day people because they were dressed
Yeah. From the
like
olden
that to
days.
me. And that's how they live. They are kind of olden day people. But I was like fascinated with them. I was like, I want to go live like an olden day person. I thought. So I thought when I was little. No, thank you now.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't
it
think
might
I
be
would
fun to
last
like
very long.
homestead by choice, but not as a part of a religious organization.
Yes.
But I was fascinated with that when I was little. Oh my God. Okay. Well, tangent number one, check.
Yeah. Check.
Okay. Do you have silly goofies for today?
Um, I did, and I don't even remember what it was. I have just had, I feel like I very
You've
much
had a
overbooked
stressful
myself.
day.
Yeah, this whole week
You had a lot
because
today. Everybody, if you're watching the video, I'm looking around trying to find my phone. Pam got a haircut.
I
Look at
did
her.
get a haircut.
She looks gorgeous.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. I
It
feel
was
like you
so
almost
much.
can't tell until you kind of like sit up more and also you're wearing a darker shirt because we were
Yeah.
sitting on the Zoom for like 3 minutes and I was looking at her and I was like, Pam looks different, but and I literally thought in my head, I was like, maybe she got her bangs cut. No,
Oh my God, I almost fell backwards.
now that's
Chairs
a silly goofy. Wow, wow.
goes back so much. Do you ever have those chairs in college that like rock all the way back?
No,
Oh my God.
I don't
They're
I don't recall
for a
that.
specific reason, but
So that the kids didn't flip them?
Well, no. They're
It's
like sorry, they're like suicide prevention chairs because they rock back and you can't.
how
Yeah,
does that
I don't know.
how do you I'm
Because
trying to
they
think of
don't
a regular chair and how that would be involved.
I think that you like can't
Not
kick them
clicking for
over
me.
or I don't know. Like,
Oh, like if you were standing on it?
yeah. But this chair does like the same kind of like where it's like those
Oh.
chairs and this chair like the same way that they like rock back, like where like you'll be fine, and then all of a sudden it just goes like all the way back and you like your life flashes before your eyes. I just said anyway,
Oh my God.
moving
I'm
on.
still stuck. I'm like trying to think of like the chair. I'm like, okay, that was sorry for that tangent. Like, a chair. But Pam got her hair cut and
I
she
got
is
my hair
looking
cut.
gorgeous as hell.
Thank you. It was
Gorgeous
like
as all
down to
hell.
like here. That's what I was
It
trying
was
to
so
show. It was
long.
down to like
Oh
here. It was
yeah.
so long.
Cut off like and it's still long. And you cut
Yeah.
off like half of it, which is crazy. Does it feel so good? Do
I
you feel like if
feel
you keep
so
it?
light. I feel so like I can frolic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you keep the hair?
I did not. I didn't. I was thinking about you the whole time because I was it was like Sadie would have kept this hair. But honestly, it honestly felt good to like just
Just
be
leave it.
rid of it.
Well, the only reason I and the only time and the only reason I kept it this last time is because my hair was so long and I cut it up to my chin.
Yeah.
So he did the ponytail thing and like cut above the pony, so it was still wrapped together.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have like scooped it up off the
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
But
Mine was all
I
over the floor.
yeah, but it was like in the pony and I really wanted to keep it. And if I was too embarrassed to ask, and then he saw me like looking at it as I got up and he was like, "Do you want to keep it?" And I was like, "Yes, thank you." Shoved it in my purse. I do want to keep it. And then it was in my wardrobe for way too long and I kept
Yeah.
finding it and being like, I
Oh
really
yeah.
gotta. But it was under the full moon in Scorpio. I finally buried it at the beach.
Yeah.
And I've never been the same since.
Slay.
I don't know. Slay. Okay, I have some silly goofies that I want to share.
Okay,
Hold on, I'm
please
trying to
do.
get. Okay, the first one I thought of. Okay, this might be me and my friends would watch this SNL skit over and over and over again. I don't know that they do it anymore. I don't watch SNL nowadays. I've always been like a YouTube SNL watcher, like the individual
Yeah.
skits. But I thought of it because we're doing crystals today. And there's like an ongoing sketch that they've done with multiple celebrity guests that two of the girls are doing like a Swarovski crystal um like commercial and they're
Okay.
saying ridiculous stuff. Does that ring any bells to you?
No.
Okay. Well, they like the joke is that they used to be sex workers and now they're trying to get into like acting. So they're like, we need to like create a commercial for Swarovski crystals and send it to them so that they pay us and they use this commercial. And then it's just like this whole funny whatever. They say this, they always say Swarovski wrong and they're always referencing their past. It's just like a very silly, funny thing. But there's one that Jamie Foxx is in, and he goes, Sharky crystals. And I pulled up the sketch so you can hear him do it, but me and my friends just held on to this one thing he said. And like, I don't know why. We just say it all the time. And anytime we see a Swarovski crystal store, we like take a picture and send it to each other. And we're like, Sharky crystals. So I brought it up on YouTube.
Thank you.
So that everybody could hold on. And I found the spot ahead of time so that unlike when I tried to show the Ice Age clip and it went on for way too long. Let me make sure my volume's up. Okay, ready everybody? Oh, it was too soon. Hold on.
Sharky crystals. They're crystals for sharks.
Breaking.
That's it.
wasn't gross. It was like
So dumb. Sharky crystals. Crystals. Sharks. I don't know why me and my friends just can't stop saying it for like 10 years. That's my first silly goofy. My other silly goofy is my favorite, we were talking about a while ago, our favorite trend on the internet. Oh,
yes.
like allergies lately. Okay, this is all over my algorithm. There's these two friends making these ridiculous videos on TikTok where they have this like ridiculous accent, and the way they talk is they're two consulting BFFs, and I don't
Love
know
it.
how to describe it. I want to be able to talk like that so bad, but I also brought up a TikTok so that we could all listen to this together. And every time one of their videos pops up, I watch it all the way through, and it's complete nonsense. And the comments are so fun to read because everyone's like learning how to talk like them, and they're like, "Is this language on Duolingo?" Like, it is so funny, but it's another like really dumb humor.
Okay, let's hear.
Story.
Wow. I'm gonna see you sitting right complete next to me, special guy. How is all for going with you tonight, babe?
Crazy for you not to be noticed how I have been complete next to you for many times. But that's okay because my night was I'm completely exhausted, girl. Cannot even begin to move.
I could tell in your heart and also with your mind combined that you were not feeling all together with yourself and heart, body, and mind. Not to mention your ear and mouth and nose are not altogether making sense for your.
That is all for correct. I'm extremely sick from my head to my nose to my tongue. But I know for tomorrow I'll be complete better and ready to be on the world kissing many sexy guys.
Just remember, if you are kid.
My friend Aubrey keeps sending me those.
I was gonna send it to you. I can't stop watching them. They're so funny. I just love watching like best friends be idiots together.
Yeah.
And then like, and I was thinking about this. I was like, you know, I was gonna make a post about this. I was like, I really want to bring the word like reclaim, not bring it back, but reclaim the word idiot, because that's like being an idiot with your best friend. There's nothing better in life.
It's
Just
stulting.
being a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing in the world. I just love, I keep shaking my computer stand. I just love dumb humor and just being an idiot. And I'm reclaiming that word.
Silly
And
goofy.
Part of my purpose in life is just to be my authentic idiot self when the time is right.
That I love it. Perfect.
So that's what's new with me. Reclaiming the word idiot. You and me, completely idiot together.
Yes. I can't believe I don't have any. You know, my one silly goofy that I did text you about this already, but it is kind of funny where I've been reading, well, I just finished it, and I finished it last night at work, and I was like crying at work reading this book. But I've been reading this book called Lilith.
Oh yeah.
And it's all like from her POV, like all the things. And it's just like, it gets a little slow at some point because you're just like, there's just like so much information in it. But then at the end, it's like present day because you're going through like millennia and millennia and millennia of her life.
Right.
So then the last like chapters are like present day, and she talks about it, and she talks about how like she has failed her mission in like spreading the word of like the goddess and like all the things and everything. But then she's like, but now like then she like mentions like TikTok, and she's like, but I see these girls and they're like reclaiming themselves. And it was just like it got like very emotional at one point for me where I was just like, it just felt so great. I love this book. 10 out of 10.
Ooh, I
Should
want to
read
read
it. Yeah, I learned a lot. I don't know like how much of it is like accurate, and obviously like all the dialogue is like made up because
right.
But anyway,
I love like I got into it as a kid a lot, like reading like, I feel like you could consider that like historical fiction kind of.
Yeah.
I love a good historical fiction because you are learning about like well, this wouldn't be quite the same thing for what you're talking about, but like you're learning about like a time period and then you're getting like a feeling of like what it would have been like to like
Yeah.
go through that or something.
Yeah.
And that it feels like that's kind of like obviously that author, I mean, hopefully probably did lots of research on Lilith
Yeah.
to make certain things historically accurate and then had like creative license to sort of like fill in to make you feel like
Yes, yeah.
you're
And part of me was
experiencing.
wondering like if she herself or if she like went to somebody that like channeled her.
Yeah. So
Um,
who's it by?
Her name's Nikki. Hang on, let me look really quick. I had to like clear all my cookies from my computer, and now I have to re-sign into everything.
Oh my God, I hate
But
when I do that.
Lilith book.
Remember when our
Nikki Marmery.
Marmery? Can
Yeah.
you spell that, please? I'm gonna write it down because I'll try to remember to put it in the show notes.
It's just called Lilith. And her name is Nikki, Nikki, Marmery, Marmery.
Okay. Love it. Lilith. Cool. I'm gonna try to remember to put it in the show notes, but if not, everybody, you just got it spelled out there.
But yeah, it's a really great like feminist retelling of her story and all the things. But Lilith is someone that I have really been drawn to for the last like year, and I've always been like really interested in like wanting to work with her, and then like someone told me not to and that it was like really bad and all the things, and then I got nervous, and now I've like really gotten back into it. And then I found this book, I think just like at a bookstore once, and then it kept like popping into my mind, and then I went to a completely different bookstore and it was just sat there in a different pile of books, like not in its home. And I was like,
sounds like Lilith was reaching.
okay, I'm gonna get this. And then you were talking about her, and then I was like,
yeah, I worked with her
I
for,
have questions.
I think it was like, it might have been it was like 6 months or less maybe, but it was when I was going through, it was like shortly after I found out about a bunch of cheating and I was just feeling really, I had decided to stay, but I was feeling really disconnected from myself, my sexuality. There's obviously a lot of like doubt, like obviously that's a huge hit to your like confidence and feeling like, yeah, like connected to your sexuality. I was obviously like really like, yeah, I just didn't feel safe and like turned off by all of that. And so, and that's what Lilith is very connected to, is reclaiming your sexuality. I just feel like it's like sexy bad bitch energy, just like owning who you are. And that like, I just feel like our sexuality goes so like our literal sex life is such a small part of our sexuality. Like sexuality is like creative force energy.
Yes.
So even if you have no one in your life that's participating in the sexuality part with you, it's like, you know, it's a big part of magic, and it's a big part of just like
creative energy.
Yeah, good and confident, and yeah, like literal creative energy. Like, oh my gosh. So Lilith is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have two things. So one, my like silly goofy about it is that I was reading the book at work, and and this girl came up and was like, "Oh my God, what are you reading?" Also, I was so surprised at like how many people were like, "Oh, who is Lilith?" And I was like, "What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean?"
Like I'd love to like, "Oh, what's that book?" And I was like, "Lilith." And she's like, "What's it about?" And I was like, "Lilith." And she was like, "Oh, okay." So and then she was like, "Oh, so you like reading fiction books?" And
like, excuse.
And like immediately my reaction was like, "Well, it's not like she's
like,
real."
Just like she's the documentary style
biography,
the biopic,
a memoir. And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess so." Because I was like, right, not everybody thinks the way that I do. Not everybody believes in these things. Not everyone is trying to work with this badass of a woman.
Oh my God.
Or like date, I don't know. She was the first woman, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then my other thing about it is that I've been feeling really, really. So right now I've been working with Lady Aphrodite and I've
Mhm.
started working with Freya.
Mhm.
And then I've been feeling this really big pull. I don't think I'm quite ready for it yet because my channeling, like I'm not totally confident in my channeling and I don't feel comfortable diving into the underworld until I'm confident in it. I don't know. Maybe there's something else there that I should probably look into.
I love the underworld. I know how this sounds. I know like we have like a sort of spooky, scary visual of the underworld sometimes
Yeah.
because it, whatever. But sorry, I'm like researching myself.
I know I just did that
I gotta stretch my legs. But it's I don't know how to describe it because I feel like in my meditations I'll like travel. I'll like visualize, imagine myself going like up and down, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like a visual of like floating up to like meet my higher self, or like visualizing like riding a cloud going up, or traveling out into like I don't know, another dimension or something. I have these like sensations and visuals of traveling up. And then of course in the underworld, that's more of a sensation of like going down.
Yeah.
Um I and this is like well, I do have like an eighth house stellium, which would be very connected to like
Yeah.
the underworld. So maybe but so it's obviously would be personal preference for different people. I have so many planets in the eighth house. I'm like, oh, that's why I like the occult and I'm fascinated by death and like whatever. Okay. But I don't really know how to describe it. One, I feel like I get such vivid visuals anytime I like quote travel to the underworld. Like I find it very easy to connect there. It's a very grounding energy. I've never ever felt scared or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. Like I don't know. I think we get like imagine like, oh, that's where demons are or
Yeah.
something. But I think that's more like interdimensional. We have like
They
this like
are.
sort of like heaven and hell perspective, if especially if you're raised in like a Christian type religion, but the underworld is not hell.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about like the underworld and Hades being like the guardian of it, all souls went there, whether it wasn't like a good or
Yes.
evil
Yeah.
thing. And then they went into this like beautiful meadow
Yeah.
to like exist as souls, right? It's not like the scary hole that Hercules dives into and it's all these like
Yeah.
lost souls or whatever. Like that's not really like the vibe. But it's definitely like so it's darker.
Yeah.
It's there's the river that you cross, and it's a lot of it feels like dusk and like a very like red orange sunset. Dusk like like the sun's already gone down, but it's like the most brilliant, beautiful, like lingering, like orange, pink, red sky. That's how it feels anytime.
Yeah.
And I'm describing my own experience.
Yeah.
Um, I don't communicate with words there. I feel like anytime I've had a lot of very I'm like feeling giddy. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the underworld after this. I haven't been in a while. But I have such tangible experiences there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like when I like see someone, I guess, or meet someone, it's like we like look very deeply into each other's eyes, but no mouths move. But I get very clear like words. It's not just symbols.
Yeah.
It's not like speaking.
No, like
And
telepathically.
yeah, it's very telepathic. And there's this for me. So when I started I never say who I work with, but I don't know. I feel called to now. So when I don't know why. Now's the time, apparently. It feels like it's all coming out. It feels exciting. So when I first started working with Hades, big mystery. I feel like if
Ooh,
anyone's
I
been
just
around
got like
for a
a
long time,
chill.
you figure it out, right?
Yeah.
When I first started working with Hades, I discovered Angelica Crashi, who is absolutely incredible. If you go back to my old podcast, Goddess Hangs, it's one of the first episodes, I think, but we interviewed Angelica. And now she has like a really, really successful big
Oh
account.
yes, I followed her. I think
Content,
I found her from you.
yeah, so her content's not all about Hades anymore. She used to be like all about Hades and like that was her content. And I joined her membership. And it was like such a cool way to get to like start that relationship being in like a community and stuff. She's amazing. She's so cool.
Yeah, she's very educational.
Yeah, she's brilliant. And
Yeah.
if you ever feel I did her Hades membership where she taught lots of classes. So it's been years since I've been to any of her classes, but I can only imagine they've gotten better. And I have that sort of like sage energy too, where I like to learn, I like to know the science, the history behind it, and that's how she teaches. She's very thorough. It's very like it's like professor, it's very Capricorn energy. I think she has a lot of strong Capricorn placement. Maybe a Capricorn. But yeah, she's awesome. But anyways, so she had this like meditation that described like Hades like palace and that like you're going to your room there. And to this day, I still go visit this room and it's like my favorite thing ever. And so I like have this room. And when I go, it's so interesting. So usually I go and I'm by myself. I can wander through the halls of this like palace. Sometimes I run into Hades, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it's just kind of like being in the energy of that place. But my room, there's like a roaring fireplace in it. My altar's like next to it. There's like a bed with like drapery, and I often sit on the floor. And if I'm doing a reading for someone, they'll sit on the floor with me in this room. I do all my readings from the underworld,
Ooh.
which is very interesting. But
Yeah.
I think because like I really like to help people with transformation, like transformation in their life, like that makes sense. But sometimes I like feel my mom there. Sometimes I like see her and she's like hanging out there. And it's really interesting at different times in my life. Like I'll go up and look at my altar and there'll be different things on that altar. Like things will be added to it. When I got to Bali, this like silly kind of like almost like Lisa Frank type like sculpture of like two dolphins leaping.
Yeah.
Was added to the altar and has been there ever since. Like, and there's like a like bejeweled box that I like open it sometimes and there's like different things in there. It's very interesting. And I don't know.
Cool.
And then the hearth of the fireplace, like different times of years I'll visit, like it's like decorated different. And it just all is like, it's my mind like coming up with these things, but I'm not like, okay, I'm gonna visualize Christmas decorations. Like I get there and I'm like, oh, Christmas decorations. Like it's very cool. And I've just had way more tangible experiences anytime I visited the underworld.
It's very cool.
Than like, I don't know, the upper world going up. I don't know. And it's so I think it's a very grounding, safe place.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you could find like meditations and stuff to like
100%
travel.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I love it. I love the underworld.
I'm very intrigued and I really do. Like I've been feeling very called to that. So like I've been feeling both Lilith and like Persephone have been popping up a lot just in my brain.
Yeah. And Persephone will be traveling back to the underworld very soon. So
I'm feeling very called to do like a lot of shadow work. And I know that Lady Aphrodite is wanting to do a lot of that with me. Like when I talked to her about it, she was like, start now with me and then you'll be ready to get down there. She was like, you're not ready for that yet. So like she was like, No. I think she's
Yeah.
kind of like, she was like, first of all, like, you need to believe in yourself more before you get down there.
Mhm.
And two, like, she was like, I think she was more just like, you're not ready for them.
Yeah.
Like, and kind of thing.
I
Because
will say, oh wait, finish your thought.
well, I just like, I think like a lot of the shadow work that I think I need to do is around like myself and relationships, which is partly what Lady Aphrodite I think is a lot gonna help me with, gonna help me a lot with. But what keeps popping up into my brain recently with Persephone is when I lived at home and my brother and I shared my car, like the car, he named it Persephone. And you know, this is I at 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
And I was always so mad about it. I was so mad about it and I was really upset about it. And I was like, no, like I wear my like Artemis like necklace and like because I love her. I've always loved her. And I was like, no, like Artemis is a badass. Like Artemis is like blah 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 blah. And I was like, Persephone is like someone that got trapped by a man and like blah 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 blah. And I was so angry about it. And then a few weeks ago, I was just like walking around, and you know when something like hits you so hard that it almost like like knocks you over. I was like, whoa. And I was like, okay, I think that I have a lot of work to do with Persephone, and I think that I owe her an apology. But it was just like, I think I had a lot of stuff there because that happened to me. I was always trapped in this relationship that was really not fantastic. And I was in this relationship for 6 years from high school all through college. And I felt very trapped by it.
Yeah.
And I was like totally projecting this where I
You're
was like,
triggered by it. Yeah.
yeah.
We're triggered by the things that are mirroring the things in ourselves we don't
totally.
want to see. Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of work there. But yes, those are my two, like, I feel very, very called to get there eventually with both Lilith and Persephone. And I think that anyway, my whole point was that right now I'm working with Lady Aphrodite and Freya. And then I'm like, I cannot wait to start working with the other two and just have this fucking like quad of badass women on my side.
Squad.
Yeah, like
the
fucking
quad squad.
bang. Like, you know what? I actually just, you know, this is a silly goofy. I just went to the zoo yesterday with a friend and I learned that meerkats, like a group of meerkats, is called a gang.
Oh, cutest gang you'll ever see.
Cutest gang.
Oh my God, the cutie gang. Watch out. The cutie gang's on the list.
Yeah.
They're prowling. Watch out. Watch out, everybody.
Anyway, that's just a side note. But yeah, that's a big thing right now for me. But I would love to hear more about your underworld.
I was just remembering like the first, or no, I don't think it was the first, but one of the first in the beginning of like traveling there. I had this meditation that I was like by the river and
is this like the river Styx?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so. I'm so bad at remember the names of things. I'm like, I don't know, the river that's in the underworld. I think the first.
Yeah.
I'm like, my brain not computing. I should know that. Like
I'm a big Greek mythology girly. Sorry, I have one more silly goofy related to this. Along the same path as my book. But there was one day, did you ever read the Song of Achilles?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, so good. You have to read it.
Okay.
It's so good. It's from the like POV of Patroclus, which is like Achilles like bestie / lover. It's amazing. It's so good. But anyway, so I was talking to my brother about it, my little brother, and I was like, you know, I've been reading a lot of like fae fantasy, so like I wanted to read something more real. And he was like, I love that Greek mythology.
Wanted to read some
Is real
like
to you. And I was like, yeah. And this is like when the trend of like, it's real to me was going around. And he kept saying that to me. It's like, it is real. It's because it is real.
It is literally real. Hey, it's based on something.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I feel like it's just as real as the Bible.
The Bible is the most sorry if this is offensive to anybody, but it's the most unreal thing. First of all, they're in the Middle East. Where are you finding a Peter and a John
And a
and a
Paul.
Matthew and a white Jesus?
First of all,
This is just
there are a few holes in the story. Those names didn't exist yet.
no.
Well, yeah. I think the funniest thing to me, and I'm no expert on the history of the Bible. I do find any information I come across that kind of like digs into biblical accuracy and whatnot very interesting.
Yeah.
But what I find funny is that the widely accepted version of the Bible that you generally find places is usually the King James version.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're good. Those kings were rewriting everything in their favor. You guys, that's the version you guys are going to use. Those guys were crazy.
There's so much that's like not actually in there.
And then it's like locked away chapters or whatever the fuck they call them in the Bible about like giants and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that I can get behind. But it's just been rewritten so many times and translated, and I think there is accuracy in it, but I think they've taken away a lot of it. And also a lot of it is written in parable form, meant to teach us stuff symbolically. But yeah. I think it's real.
This Lilith book talks about, she has like a whole experience with Mary Magdalene. It's very, very interesting.
Mary Magdalene is rewritten.
Yeah. Where like they were actually just like
they were literally married and had children. And she was also working miracles and was just as powerful as him.
Yeah. Well, at least in this book, she doesn't perform any miracles. She says that he didn't even perform any miracles. What was happening was, I think she uses like their actual name, like the aromatic names, and not like John and Paul. But one of them was, at least according to this book, right, was paying all these people around town to come, and then like Jesus would do something, like he would just like put his hand on them. Like the one example she gives is like this
so
one
he's like
guy,
a magician.
Yeah. This one guy came and was like in a wheelchair or whatever it was, like he couldn't walk. And then Jesus just put his hand on him and was like, your sins are forgiven. Like, this is, kind of the extent of what I can do for you.
This is.
Yeah. And then the guy was like, no, like, whatever. And he like wiped his like tears away. And then the guy like jumped up and was like, oh my God, like, it's a miracle. And then Lilith talks about how she like has started following this disciple around town to see like who he's meeting with and all the things. And she sees all of these people being paid, and then they show up at the house and these become the miracles. And like in the story, she never calls him Jesus. It's always Yeshua. And Yeshua starts talking to Mary Magdalene, being like, who am I? Who am I? Like, he's like so confused by what's happening because he doesn't even understand. He's like, I'm not doing anything. Like, but these things keep happening. Like, I'm so confused. It's really crazy.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
One of I wish I could remember. I'm not gonna remember the name. It's Billy something, and he studies. He's got like 1 million degrees. He can like translate old texts, like all these languages and stuff. And he's one of my favorite people to listen to about like quote, like real history and how history has been rewritten and just all these things. And he walks a fine line between, for me at least, being like, is this conspiracy? But he has so many references and ancient scripts and texts and things that that he points to back up what he's saying, that I feel like he's pretty legitimate. Like
Yeah.
he's like yeah, I mean he's a historian, and it's all very interesting, but he just fascinating. Billy, he's interviewed, he's in tons of different like Gaia documentaries and stuff. It's gonna bother me. I don't even know how to like Google to look him up. Maybe if I just type in Billy Gaia, because I don't want to just leave you
Billy
all
Carson.
hanging. Billy Carson. Yeah, I think he's a really interesting guy. Thank you for finding that. But
I did just type in Billy Gaia.
Billy Gaia. Yeah. So he just like, and again, a lot of it is a little borderline, like, whoa, that's really out there. That kind of stuff where I'm like, I don't know, but if you gave me the cold hard proof, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. But really fascinating stuff about aliens and different dimensions and the Bible. He references different interpretations of it and the Emerald tablets and like all this really interesting stuff. So I love like watching his anything he's on Gaia, or I mean probably his stuff on YouTube and whatever, but that's how I came across him.
Yeah.
Very interesting man. I like listening to his stuff. But anyways, it's 5:55 on the clock right now. Yay! Should we talk about? Oh wait, I want to tell you about this. Our tangents.
Oh yes.
But I was at the river in the meditation, and
yes.
This ties back actually, this makes me think of Billy, because he talks a lot about like ancient Egypt and like the Egyptian gods and stuff. And I can't remember now, but there's an Egyptian god from the underworld that has like a bird head.
Yes.
Is it Osiris or?
I think so.
So I did this meditation with every intention to connect to Hades. I was doing an underworld meditation, but I found myself by the river. I didn't know who it was at the time, but it was clearly like Egyptian looking guy, but with like a bird head and like a human body and like this staff in his hand. And I felt like he was telling me to like drink from the river, and I was like, I can't, I'll die. And he was like, exactly. And I was like, no. But anyways, I drank from the river in my meditation.
Yeah.
And I basically was like, and like was poisoned and died in this isn't a meditation. This isn't even a dream. And I'm just like, just keep going with it. It's fine. Everything is fine in my meditation. And then it was like my body died, but then like I was having like an out of body experience in my meditation. And then he like leaned down and like unzipped me as if it was like a human suit, like unzipped me, and then I felt myself go back into my body and then come out of my body. And this sounds so ridiculous, and I don't know what this means. I came out and I had the head of a cat.
Of a cat?
A cat. Like a golden cat, like an orange cat, a crazy one. And so there was the deity with the bird head, and I had the cat head now, and I was just like, okay. And I didn't know what that meant.
Did you look like an Egyptian?
Well, I know
like
that like
god?
cats are really we're really like worshipped.
Yeah.
And so I took it as like, because cats were known to be like, and this was the time that I was going through my like psychic development and starting to do a lot of readings and stuff. And like the reason that the Egyptians like worship the cats is because they're considered to be basically very psychic, like kind of like exist between dimensions. So I took it as like me stepping into like those psychic abilities, because the cats can hang out in the different dimensions and kind of travel between. And I was doing this traveling between, and I kind of took it that way of like, yeah, like you have this power now or whatever.
I love that.
I don't really know.
Cool. Yeah.
It wasn't interesting. And it was like a meditation. It wasn't a dream. It was just, yeah.
Very cool.
Anyways, should we talk about crystals? Sharky crystals.
Sharky
crystals for sharks. Okay, I have a whole list of bullet points for us to
Okay.
go down to try to stay focused as we talk about crystals. So I have a bunch of my crystals sitting next to me. I was thinking about all of the big, amazing crystals I have in my storage unit in LA and wishing I had those. But starting now, this might be an episode you want to go to YouTube.
Yeah.
We can show our crystals, but we'll describe them too. Um, but my first question I thought we could both answer
Yes.
is what if you could only have one crystal, what would be your must-have crystal? Which kind of crystal would you choose?
That's so hard to answer.
I know.
I do really love like rose quartz, but I think I would probably say this guy. It's apophyllite,
Mm-hmm.
and I just have like a little one, and it's the same thing where it feels like it just feels really nice. Like it's got,
Yeah.
I don't know.
What is apophyllite good for?
I believe it's like crown chakra, third eye business. Like I use this in all my readings,
Mm-hmm.
this one. And then I actually just started using, I've had this for so long. I have so many crystals that I'm like, I needed this right now. And then I never use them again.
Yeah.
But I was in a meditation with Archangel Azrael, and the only thing I got from the whole meditation was aquamarine.
Mm.
And I was like, am I supposed to start using this? And he was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, why
Well,
else would I
you
say
said
it?
you
And I'm
needed
like,
to be more connected to like water energy, right? That would make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. So
Makes sense to me. It all checks out.
yeah, and I started using these two in my like meditations. And
Mhm.
once I started using the aquamarine, I like really felt like I could tune in better,
Mm.
which is really interesting. Um, but I don't know, I just like this guy. It feels nice.
Wait, what
It's
is
really,
apophyllite
like,
good for?
I think it's really great for like crown chakra. I think it's really like high vibrational and kind of helps me stay in that like
Okay. Like ground into the higher
yeah.
vibration.
Yeah.
Cool. I was like, that's one that I don't know. I know about a lot of different crystals because I worked at the crystal
Yeah.
store. So I do have a pretty good database in my brain. But apophyllite we had, but it wasn't one of the more popular ones that she bought a lot of. So that like I didn't really know about that one.
I did pull up more just so that I can have more like information on it. But this says it's a stone of truth and allows its companion to release self-doubt and recognize self-worth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. I think it's hard to pick a must-have. If I could only have one crystal, I like the one I showed the other week. I'd probably take this Lemurian one.
Yeah. I
Because
took mine too. Up here. I just have this.
yeah. Because this particular one feels amazing in my hand. But also, I mean, Lemurian, it's named that because it has little lines in it that are said to be like almost like code
Yeah,
to
like
tap into
records.
like the wisdom of the Lemurians. I haven't really experienced that myself. I haven't really felt like, oh, I connected to the Lemurians. But I really like I always have it on my bedside. I like it for meditation. I do think it has that like the crown like energy, and I think it's also going to have similar properties to clear quartz.
Mm-hmm.
So being like an amplifier, an energy clearer type vibe. That's what I get
Love
from it.
it.
So I would pick this Lemurian, but not necessarily because it's Lemurian, it's because it's this one.
This one.
I think if I had to pick one type of crystal, well, here was my other question. If you were gonna start a brain, let's say you didn't have any crystals, or I don't know, a burglar came and took every
All of
single one
mine.
of your crystals, and you were starting over, or you just had a friend say, Pam, I want to start a crystal collection. Give me 3 crystals that I should start with that I will be like, that'll be a great like crystal starter kit.
Starter. I think that clear quartz is just such a great starter because it's just
Mhm.
kind of like I feel like a catch-all of
Yeah.
crystals, and it's like a really great like amplifier.
Yep.
So if
Yeah.
you can get, I wish I had brought it out.
Uh,
It's over there somewhere, but
I
it's
have a
behind my
little.
curtain. Maybe Frank can
I have this
get it
like
for
big
me.
quartz ball,
But
but it also looks pretty similar to the Lemurian, except not with
yeah,
the lines in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe like a nice sorry, I just had another story pop into my head. I was
The
gonna
king of
say
this has arrived.
I was gonna say like a black tourmaline or something for like
Mm,
protection and grounding.
yeah, yeah.
And then perhaps either like a rose quartz or like a really nice like abundance crystal.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah.
How about
I
you?
would so I would say citrine for abundance.
Yeah,
Here's a citrine. This one's very light, but citrine are kind of like honey
very
colored.
pretty.
I also have like this well, this bracelet is also citrine. So you can see it can be like this is a cheaper grade of citrine. But this is also citrine. I also have a little citrine pinky ring that you
Like the
probably
way that
can't
you
tell.
say it.
Citrine. Do I say it weird?
Citrine.
Citrine.
I would just say like citrine. You say citrine.
Oh,
I
maybe
like it.
I don't know.
You also say oh my god, what do you say?
Oh no. What do I say? Do I say
Can you
something
say
wrong?
opposite?
Opposite?
No. There's one where you like really enunciate the first like syllable, and I love it.
I don't know.
Next time you do it, I'll point it out.
Okay. I was listening. I like how you say a word when so how I would say it is horrible, and you say
Oh,
horrible.
horrible. Yeah.
I like how you say that word. Horrible.
Horrible. Sometimes,
Horrible.
honestly, I spell things wrong because my like
The way you say
American
them.
accent comes out. Yeah. And so I'm like, horrible. No, it's with an O. Like
That would be hard. I can see that. Okay, so my three crystals to start would be citrine. I would probably say selenite because
yeah.
it's very soft, so it gets scuffed up easy, but this is a worker crystal.
Yes.
Selenite is one of the most powerful crystals. It's also one of the cheapest to get.
Yeah.
So you can get like a lot of it. So selenite is a really powerful energy cleanser. So like now I just have this one piece, but this would be non-negotiable for me to travel with. If I could
Yeah.
only travel with one crystal, I'd probably bring a selenite crystal. Well, I could travel with at least two, then I'd also probably bring a black crystal for
Yeah.
protection. But really powerful. And in my home, back when I had a home, I had one of these in every single room.
Yes.
Both bedside tables in the bedroom, on my desk. I actually would put them in most corners to kind of like to sort of like block out the rooms, front door, back door. I had selenite bowls for my jewelry, selenite bowl for my keys. Selenite is so awesome and it's really inexpensive. So this would probably be the very first thing I would buy, honestly, is just
Yeah, that's
as
so
much
fair.
selenite as you want. And I like this triangle because I will stack my bracelets around it or like put my rings at the top. But the other cool thing, at least what I was taught about selenite at the store I worked at, and people have different opinions on this, but apparently selenite does not need to be charged.
No.
It can cleanse and charge your crystals. It's very, very powerful. So selenite, everybody write that down. Get yourself some selenite if you don't have it. So definitely selenite, definitely
Yeah.
citrine. And then I think for me, it would be a tie between, so for suggesting for other people, it would be a tie between rose quartz and amethyst. For me, I'm more drawn to rose quartz. So if I had to pick three, I would pick rose quartz, but amethyst is a protector. It's very healing. At the store I worked at, we called it like your best friend because
Yeah.
it kind of like morphs into like what you need. Like a best friend just like knows what you need and gives
Yeah.
it to you. That's like amethyst. Amethyst is also really great for I don't know, if you know someone that's like going through addiction, it's a really great gift. Amethyst is like the known as like the addiction stone because it helps with like willpower and things like that. So that can be a lovely gift if you know somebody that struggles with that. Um, but amethyst is awesome. The amethyst I travel with is multi-purpose. I have an amethyst pendulum, and this is like a chevron one with the drags in it.
That's really pretty. Mine is bloodstone.
Ooh, oh my God, bloodstone is so amazing.
Yeah. I think it's also, I saw that it's like the Aries stone,
Oh,
which is
interesting.
crazy because this is the only pendulum that I have that like I can feel the direction on my hand.
Mm.
Like I don't even have to, like I don't have to have it in my peripherals at all. Like I could just tell by the way it feels on my hand.
I think this is a little piece of rose quartz, but this is very light. But my favorite rose quartz is my little goddess rose
Ooh,
quartz
I love that.
statue. And I keep this my little love corner of my altar.
I love that.
So that's my rose quartz. So yeah, I would say if you're gonna start your collection, my suggestion would be selenite, citrine, and then depending, I guess I would be like, well, what do you need more of? I
Yeah.
can't pick. I have four. Rose quartz and amethyst. That's my picks. Okay. We're both about to go on a trip. Pam, what crystals will you be packing with you? What do you travel with?
I've been trying to be better about it, but like when I was touring,
Mm-hmm.
I would bring my selenite bowl and I would put it in the corner of my bunk and like in between like the mattress of the wall and like I would shove it into the corner so that it wouldn't move. And then I would put all my rings in it. Like my rings are kind of non-negotiable
Yeah.
for me. This is amber. This is sugilite, which is like really great for protection. And I got it while I was touring because it just like there's so much on tour.
Yeah.
Because one, you're constantly around people. You have no privacy whatsoever.
Yeah.
So you're constantly around people, you're constantly around other people's energy. And when you're gone for that long of a time, just shit happens. People get grumpy, which is fine and it's normal. You're away from home, you're away from your loved ones, you're eating shit food most of the time. You're like not seeing the outside. It's just a lot, especially if you're on like an arena tour because you drive like the arenas have like a downstairs where
drive right
is pulled into, and then you're just like when I did
You
an
need to go to
arena
touch
tour,
some grass.
literally,
Oh my God.
my arena tour was just like I was like, it's the summer and I haven't seen the outside in like weeks. It's been so long because then you just then you leave from there.
Yeah, you drive in, you drive out.
Yeah.
And you drive to the next.
Yeah. But so I would bring so much. I haven't been wearing it a lot, but I had a Libyan desert glass pendant that I would wear as well for protection. I would always have a black tourmaline, my amethyst, a rose quartz, and if I was like feeling freaky, I would bring out my like carnelian garnet kind of ones. And then yeah, but now I'm like trying to, and I would always have like selenite around me, and I had like my like room aura spray. When like everybody got off the bus, I was like
cleanse really quick.
Everyone, like my Palo Santo, everyone's like, what is that? And I'm like, if it bothers you, you're the problem.
It's working.
It's working.
Get out of here.
But now when I travel, I try to be a lot better about it. And I usually will bring my pendulum. Although I have a pendulum now. I bought it years ago, never used it. I think I just thought it was pretty and I bought it, but then I never felt connected to it and I didn't know why. Once I started working with Lady Aphrodite, she was like, that one. And so now I only use it with her. And then I use this one with everybody else.
Interesting.
And then probably my apophyllite and the aquamarine now. And then I always bring like a protective crystal. But what I was gonna say too, that popped into my head, is that I keep a black tourmaline in my car for protection. And I got a car wash the other day, and I think they threw it out because I think they just
It was just a rock.
Because I got back in my car and I was like,
Where the fuck is my rock?
gone.
I'd be pissed. I'd be like,
So-
you have to reimburse me for that.
I know. So now before I do my big drive, I want to go tomorrow to get another one. But yeah. And then I actually just got what is it called? It's like a fossil. It's like one of those little fossils. It looks like this. Do you know what I'm talking about? Hang on, let me pull up my thing. But she was telling me, shout out Lacey at the Nashville Crystal Store. She doesn't work there anymore, but she was the best. And she was telling me about it because I was like, I was going through this period of time where I was like having a really, really hard time staying grounded. Like I always felt like I was like up here somewhere. And she was talking about how great that that is, because it's a fossil of like a old ancient squid or something like that that is buried all the way like at the bottom of the ocean, so it's so deeply rooted and deeply grounded. And she was talking about how it's it's really like good for like extending your life kind of thing. I can't remember the proper words for it, but she was
live forever.
And she was just like, I keep it in my car. And she was like, anytime I travel, anytime I do anything, she's like, I take it with me because it helps like protect you that way. I can't find it. I don't remember what it was called.
I know what you're talking about. We had some of them. The little boys always liked them.
It's over there. I wish I had a Frank. You could
Frank, pass it
through the curtain.
Hey, Frank.
Hey, yo, Frank.
When back when I was dating Greg, we had this bit that we would pretend to be Frank and Tony.
Oh,
we were members of the mafia, but we were like secret gay lovers. We'd be like, "Hey, Frank, give me a kiss." He'd be like, "Tony, not right now. We just wait till the rest of the fellas are out of here," and we would go back. We'd holler from the other room, "Hey, Tony, come give me a kiss." It's a really good bit. I love bits with friends. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna say any black crystal is a great protector. I also like, for example, my now sister-in-law, she's a school psychologist, so she gets pretty drained at her job. So like I gave her I never remember if it's not tourmaline. I think it was obsidian. There's a few different black crystals. I think it was obsidian. Like little obsidian pyramid to keep on her desk to help like protect her energy. So if you like, I don't know, if you work, I mean, any job that feels draining, but especially like a job like a nurse or like a therapist or a school psychologist or a teacher or something where you're like giving a lot of yourself to other people, or like like that, I don't know, that type of vibe where you find yourself really drained at the end of the day, keeping some, and I don't necessarily think it matters which black crystal, but any of the black crystals, getting like a bracelet or keeping a little small one in your bra or in your pocket or on your desk or whatever. It's very good for protecting your energy, and so is amethyst as well.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, for me, traveling, I traveled with every single one of the crystals last year. I'm like looking, I'm like, couldn't go through all of them now, but I'm going to try and narrow it down this time. So I'll tell you the main, so I'm going to, the hard thing is like, I'm just going to bring my like bigger ones, quote bigger. They're more like medium sized, but
Yeah.
the thing that gets heavy is that I'm like, well, one more of these small ones. Well, one more,
Yeah.
and then I have 100 of them. So absolutely my selenite. I of course my Lemurian that I already showed and talked about. Of course, my citrine that we already talked about. Of course, my rose quartz goddess that we already talked about. And then there's a couple more. So I love this Larimar that I
Ooh.
have. It looks like the ocean. Oop, looks like the
I
ocean.
catch it.
Jesus. Looks like the ocean.
Yeah.
Larimar is nicknamed the goddess stone. So it has a very it's making the light like
You
there
have
you
to
go.
do like the makeup influencers where they're
Yeah,
the thing,
exactly.
right?
But yeah, it literally looks like the ocean with like currents and
Yeah, it does.
sand. Another one that feels very good in my hand to like squeeze. And I really associate Larimar with my mom because this blue ring that I'm showing to the camera right now was my mom's ring.
So pretty.
And actually, we're about to go to Florida in a couple days when we're recording this. It was on our one and only family trip that the only time I've been to Florida, it was with my mom. We were shopping, and that's where I remember she bought this ring, this Larimar ring. She tried on a bunch of them. We learned about Larimar. They were like, yeah, it's a rare stone. You can only get it one place in the world, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people mistake it for turquoise, but it's not, something different. And I helped her pick out this ring, and then I would always tease her that I was going to steal it from her because I loved the ring so much. And then I did. Just kidding. Just kidding. She's dead. Sorry. Sorry, everybody. I stole it. But Larimar just feels like my mama's stone.
Yeah.
So I love this one. And then this beautiful agate I bought in
Ooh.
Bali, and it's so pretty, and I
So
love how
pretty.
it stands.
That is exactly what my other pendulum looks like, the one that I used with Lady Aphrodite.
Yeah, I love this. So
Yeah.
agate is very grounding, and then like the pale blue of this one, agate comes in a lot of colors, but the pale blue of this one is very calming, grounding energy. So I keep this one by the bedside. And then I always forget what this stone is called. But I love this barrel, and I remember
It looks like a mix of things.
well, yeah, so this is different, but this is the main event. It's a manifestation stone. It's a very like bright energy, and I cannot for the life of me. It starts with an A. I feel like I keep, now that I have the word apophyllite, apatite. It's apatite, yeah. And there's different colors of apatite as well. This is like a green yellow one.
I have a green yellow one. It's not shiny like that though.
This one has such incredible rainbows in it. And I have a bunch of little tiny apatites too, that I keep some in my wallet and stuff. But I love this one. And I always, there's those little ridges on my Larimar, and for whatever reason, I always set it up like this. I don't know why, but I like it to sit, it like sits in that little ridge that was on there. And I'm gonna try and let that be it. I'll have my amethyst pendulum because it's useful. And then I wear a lot of crystal jewelry, so I'm like, I still have a lot of other, I bring all my crystal bracelets because I wear different ones every day. Today I have on morganite, mookite, and citrine. I'm wearing my carnelian necklace, my amber necklace. I always have my emerald on, my rings. I have my green agate, my Larimar, my citrine, my moonstone, my diamond. I don't know what's in this green one. I just found that in my house. Oh, and I'll bring a couple small ones of just like that are like worker crystals, like a couple black little crystals. One thing I really like, I'm not gonna bring this big one, but I love these organite pyramids. Organite is not a crystal, it's made. But they're basically, so if you look in there, it's like the copper coil around the clear quartz, And then this one's amethyst. You can get them made with different things, but the pressure that's created when they put it in resin makes it an EMF blocker, which EMF waves come from our computers, phones, everything. But I have a little baby one, so I'll be bringing that. And
Oh,
I
perfect.
usually
That's such a cute little one. Just a
I
little
keep
guy.
it just a little guy. I keep it on my bedside, and I try to make sure it's like my phone's on the other side of it when I set it down, and this is closer to my head to try to block it. So I'm gonna try and let that be all. I'm sure some other pebbles will sink in. But that's my tour, my travel tour.
I love
Okay.
it.
Now let's talk about, I'm going down my bullet points. So we talked a lot about our must-have crystals. I guess, what would you say if you had to pick one favorite crystal? It's hard.
It is.
Mine would be citrine.
Yeah.
Like if you said I could only have one crystal, I don't know that it would be citrine, but if I just pick a favorite, I would say citrine.
Let me look.
I have the most
Oh, I got back here. They're all back here.
Like, let me look. I have the most beautiful, like high quality, like it's not huge, but it's like a big citrine tower that has like the most insane rainbows in it. It's in my storage unit, but it was like an expensive one. It was like the last thing I bought myself when I was like leaving the crystal store. I was like, because I just was like, citrine is my favorite.
Yeah.
But also it's for abundance, so it's a business investment.
Yeah. It's a write-off.
That's what I think. It's a write-off. What do you mean? My citrine crystals are write-offs. They're to draw in more abundance. So that'd probably be my favorite.
Yeah. I don't know what my favorite would be. I don't know.
You can think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. How do
Hard
you
to pick a favorite.
how do you take care of your crystals? How do you like to cleanse and charge your crystals?
Oh, I've been really bad at it recently. They've just been in my little shelf over here.
Yeah.
But normally I will do like I have a bunch of like what?
Sorry, I'm like my legs are all folded and I was trying to stretch it out with like showing out without showing my feet on the screen, and then I was all like this trying to unfold. Okay, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I was just making a really weird body shape while I was trying to do that, but you couldn't see it happening. Okay. Go on. Sorry, everybody. So sorry.
What was the question? Oh, how do I take care of my
crystals?
crystals?
How do you cleanse them and charge them?
It depends on which ones they are, because some of them you can't leave in the sun.
Right,
But
they'll fade.
mostly I will put them on my like selenite plate or in my selenite bowl, or if they can be in the sun, I'll let them charge in the sun. Or if there's like a particular full moon that I feel good about, you put them in the moon.
Yep.
But sometimes I get nervous that like an animal's gonna steal them if I put them outside.
I always just put them in the windowsill on a full moon, and I'm like, I don't know which windowsill is gonna get the moonlight, so I'm just usually I'm staying in an Airbnb that has like, it's like an apartment, so it's only like one side is open anyway, so I'm like, I hope some moonlight hits it, but if not, that's okay. It's still in the moon energy. But ideally, you would know where the moonlight is hitting, and you could put it in that windowsill.
Yeah.
But if you don't,
anyway,
I usually just, just like literally, like physically cleaning your crystals does cleanse them on an energetic level. Like I'll just get like a damp paper towel or like washcloth and just like wipe them down. There's certain crystals you don't want to get like wet. Like selenite will dissolve in water. But like a damp, not wet, a damp like cloth or paper towel is totally fine for selenite. You just don't want to, if you're gonna like because one thing you could do, just double check and like Google your crystals to make sure they're not, I can't think of any others besides selenite off the top of my head that you wouldn't want to put in water.
I think malachite.
Oh, yeah. Also,
I think it's like toxic.
Yeah.
Once it gets wet.
Also, yeah, it's popular to like soak crystals in water and then like drink it. Yeah, malachite is poisonous.
Yeah.
And also just like don't just be safe. I wouldn't do.
Yeah. Google it.
I had a water bottle where it had like a separate enclosure where there was like little rose quartz petals in the or pebbles in the bottom, but it was closed off from the water, but it's like there's just glass in between it, but that's
Yeah.
still the energy. Or you could put like crystals next to your water or whatever. But if you're making, but some crystals can be in water. So if you wanted to like put like some rose quartz, I think rose quartz is fine. Double check
Yeah.
though. You want to put rose quartz in the jar of water that you're setting out under the full moon to have rose quartz infused moon
Yeah.
water. That's a great idea. But also you
Yeah.
can keep it outside of it and kind of like surround it, like
Yes.
touching the glass or make like a crystal grid around it. There's so many
Yeah.
ways you could do that. But anyways, one way you can cleanse and charge crystals is in like moon water. That works. You
Yeah.
could use moon water to dampen your cloth. You could use moon water to like spritz and then like wipe down your altar. But I like literally dust them and then I always use incense. So I'll
Yes.
light,
Also.
I'll usually like dust them all off with a damp towel and then wipe down my like altar area or wherever I keep them, bedside area, whatever. And then I'll light up my incense stick and like set it up so it's just sitting there. And then I'll put every individual crystal like into the smoke.
Yeah.
And I like that. And you can pick incense, you know,
Based
that
on-
has a certain energy too
Okay.
to kind of like charge it. But yeah, the sun will charge it. Amethyst will fade pretty fast in the sun.
Yeah.
Rose quartz will fade. A lot of crystals will eventually fade in the sun, so you might not want to display them in a window, but charging them, you know, like once a month in the sun, great, no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually use incense and just a good old dust, and that's how I cleanse. And then I try to remember to set them out on a windowsill for the full moon to charge them. I don't always.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can tell now that I've had crystals for a long time. I feel like I can tell when they're like, Sadie,
Yeah.
join us,
They're like,
charge
hello.
us.
Sometimes
I
they
feel
just
like you
use
could
that.
also like meditate with your crystals and like put your energy into them
Yes.
to charge them. I feel like you could do that.
Yeah.
One thing we always did at the crystal store that was so fun, you can communicate with your crystals with a pendulum. And so if you were like, I want to know what my crystals have to say, if they need to be charged or not, or if they need to be cleansed or not, you can literally like either hold the crystal in your hand and do the pendulum over it, or just like let it stay in its spot. And we would go around and be like, do you need to be cleansed? Or like, do you need to be cleansed? Or do you need to be cleansed? And the pendulum would say different things. And so we would pull the crystals that needed a cleansing and we would set up a little like water bath station and we would like cleanse them. And then the pendulum afterward would be swinging like all happy, like, no, I don't need a cleansing anymore. And it was so fun. So hot tip, you can communicate with your crystals.
Very cool.
With the pendulum.
Yeah. I do like when I get them to be like, okay, this is your job.
Yeah, give them
Like,
a little
this
job
is what
to
you're
make
gonna
them feel
do.
special.
Yeah. I think about that a lot now. I haven't even seen it, but I think about that every
One of my favorite quotes. Make them feel special. Also, don't forget to, if your pendulum you feel like isn't giving you good answers or responding to you, it might just need a cleansing and a charge.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, my last bullet point is what do you do with them?
What do you do with them?
What the heck do you do with them?
Tell them that they're pretty and be friends with them. No, I don't know. I use mine for different things. So like some of them, like this one, this is Covalite. And
what's
this is
Covalite?
Also a really good one for like channeling and like spirit connection. So now these are like really the ones that I use like whenever I channel. But I give them different little jobs to do. And I use them for different things. Like if I'm feeling like I really need some like self-love and some confidence, then I'll go for like rose quartz and my carnelian ring broke, so I don't have it anymore and I need to get another one, but things like that.
I have extra carnelian rings, but they're really big. they fit me in Bali, and then I got home because it's so humid there, so your fingers are all puffy. And I
Yeah.
got home and I was like, these don't fit me anymore. They fly off my fingers, but you can try some. I'll bring them with me. Um, yeah. I feel like, I mean, one, it's just fun to like pick your crystal of the day or something if you're like going to
Yeah.
work and you're like that's what I do that more with my bracelets, and I don't wear crystal bracelets every day, and I don't wear my crystal necklaces every day. I have a lot of jewelry that I never take off, like my rings, and my emerald necklace never comes off. But I'll just be like, and I just feel like kind of drawn. I'm like, oh, I think I want to wear that today. Like that's the energy I need. It's kind of like, I don't know, sometimes you like crave a certain food because your
Yes.
body needs that nutrient. I feel like
Yeah.
that's how I am with crystals. Like I'll like feel like called to this one's you're coming home with me. You're coming with me today. Like
Yeah.
I need your energy today. But mostly, I mean, for the most part, I have like a bedside altar, and then I have my like money slash love altar that's like one strip of
Yeah.
thing, and money's on the left and love is on the right. Um and they mostly sit there and look pretty. And then of course I wear the jewelry for its different properties. But anytime I'm doing a spell, I'll like take crystals and create kind of like a crystal grid around the candle, or just have them kind of like chill in there. I don't meditate with my crystals a lot, although I meditate in my bed, and my bedside crystal altar is there. So I guess I do. I just like having them around.
Yeah.
Also, they're pretty. I like the aesthetic of them.
I do like that too.
And when I worked at the crystal store, people were like, oh, like how, like where do I begin? How do I know what crystal like I should get? If they have all these healing properties and stuff. Without fail, every single time we would say, just look around, pick up whatever you like,
Yeah.
and doesn't have to be any deeper reason than you think it's pretty. Just pick it up, come set it over on the counter over here while you're wandering around doing that. And it doesn't mean you need to buy them. Just pick out what you think is pretty and cute and whatever you're drawn to for whatever the reason. And we're going to pull the cards of all the meanings for you. And people every single time would be absolutely shocked because it was like a reading. It was like,
No, it
but it was
is.
like, how did I know that? Because
Yeah.
they were picking them for themselves. So it was so cool. So like, yeah, like go to especially if you're like just starting a crystal collection, you don't have to buy what me and Pam said. Like
Exactly.
go pick out what you think is just pretty, or like whatever you're drawn to for whatever the reason. It could just be because that would look so cute on my bedside table.
Yeah.
And then maybe they'll have little cards at the shop or whatever, or you can just Google it, but you will be amazed at how much you resonate with that because we are so connected.
We are so connected. Okay, wait. I have a story about that, but also I have to pee so bad. And I can't.
Okay.
I can't do it anymore. BRB.
Okay. Do you want to pause? You can pause the thing with. Okay, Pam just had a bathroom break, but
BRB.
what was your story about that?
Okay.
About like
Yeah, so I was
discovering a
on
crystal.
tour once with these two guys who were the most like anti everything that we talk about here. Like one of them would literally send me like scientific articles explaining why astrology is not real. And I was like, that's like, you are the most Libra I have ever met in my whole
I feel like that is exactly what a Libra would do. And that, my friend, is science.
And the other one was a Taurus who stereotypically loved his comforts, loved his food, loved his like just habit creature comfort things. And I was like, you are just like the most stereotypical.
Astrology is like the most ancient science there is.
Yeah.
One of.
Anyway,
It's calculations, it's math, like literally.
yeah. So we were in LA and I think we had an off day or something. So we were like walking down Melrose and I was like, oh my God, you know what's around here? Is House of Intuition.
House of Intuition. I used to walk there from my old place.
Yeah. And I was like, we have to go. And they were like, ugh. And I was like, just please, like, I did never ask you guys for anything. Like,
yeah.
like,
Come
just
on.
this, let me have this. And then, so one of them's like walking around all grumpy, but then he's just like looking at everything. He's also like a big like nerd. So then he just like starts looking at all the rocks and he's like, okay, like these are like cool looking, blah, 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 blah. But he was like, but they don't do anything. So that was one. The other one, I lose at some point. He starts walking around on his own. And I'm like, I haven't seen him in a while. Like, where the hell did he go? Like, maybe he's outside. So I start walking towards the door. And no, I see him crouched down and he's like this with one of the crystals. And he's like, I've been holding this for like 5 minutes. And it was Crocodile Jasper. And this man is, I mean, they'll never listen to this, but he's like one of the most emotionally stunted people I've ever met in my life. And Crocodile Jasper is really, really great for like heart chakra healing. And he was like, I can't explain the connection that I feel to this rock. And he bought it. And he's like, I keep it on my desk. I mean, I haven't spoken to him in years now, but
he's like the most emotionally mature man in the world, Val.
Literally. But he at least, you know, when I was talking to him still, like he was like, no, I keep it on my desk. I like look at it every day, like blah 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 blah. And
Crocodile crystal.
He's like, okay, like I bought it. Now what do I do with it? And we were at this like really pretty house in LA that we were just staying at for a few days. I think we actually had like a few days there, which was really nice. And I was like, okay, so here's what you do. Like set this in the sun to charge, because that one you can put in the sun. And I was like, and like give it a job. Like sit with it, hold it, like be like, this is what I would like you to help me with. And he did. And he like did the whole thing. And he was like, I feel really great with this rock. And I was
feel
like,
really great with this rock. Exactly.
I told you.
Exactly.
I was like, you know, if people just started listening to me more.
If people just had more rocks.
Yeah.
You know what this country needs? More rocks.
You know what? I just got to that episode of Lucifer. Actually, I passed it now, but of Lucifer. Sorry, spoiler alert. I feel like it's been out long enough. But where they're with Cain. And Lucifer goes to like his house, or maybe Chloe goes to his house, and she's like, you have like a lot of rocks. Like, do you have an obsession with rocks? And I was like, that's so funny.
Like, yeah.
First murder weapon. A rock.
A rock. Multi-purpose. Also literally protective.
Yeah.
Hopefully you never need to murder somebody, but
No.
you could throw it. You could. Depending on the rock. You could, yeah, it could get the job done enough for you to get away if necessary.
Yeah.
And that's why I carry 100 crystals with me when I travel. Swing the bag around. And...
Yeah. You see that pointy selenite? That will do some damage. But anyway.
Who needs mace when you've got a bag of crystals?
When you got a bag of rocks.
Bag of crystals. Oh my goodness. Well, we would love to hear from you, our dear sweet listeners. What is your favorite crystal? What is your must-have crystal? What was your first crystal? Do you have a fun crystal story? Tell us all about it. Tell us all about it. Send us a DM, or on Spotify and YouTube, you can comment, which is so fun. We have so much fun reading those come in. Make sure wherever you like to tune in, you are subscribed. And if you are on Spotify or Apple, leave a review. It helps us a lot. It helps boost the algorithm. And if you're enjoying Giggly Witches, I just about said, if you're enjoying Sharky Crystals, you're enjoying Giggly Witches, share an episode, share your favorite episode with a friend. Help us get the word out about our fun little Giggly Witch podcast.
Yeah.
We have so much recording for you. So much fun recording for you. The brain is no longer working. It's no longer working. It's done. I don't know. Kaput. Okay. Follow us on social media. All of a sudden I got really hungry.
I'm so hungry.
And my brain dropped into my stomach and I was like, no more blood here. No more operationals. Follow us on socials at Giggly Witches on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You can follow me at I am Sadie Olson, and check out my YouTube channel, Magic with Sadie, I have been going ham creating all sorts of guided EFT tappings. They're all under
Love
10
it.
minutes because that's how much I like to tap. And by the way, life hack, turn it on 1.25 speed or 1.5 speed if you want you to do it in even less time and just tap really fast through it. Because sometimes I don't have the patience, but I'm like, I still want to get it done. But let me know, send me a DM at I am Sadie Olson or comment on one of the YouTube videos what you want a tapping session on because I'll create it. I'm having a ball. And I just have a goal to make like a gigantic free tapping library on
Love
YouTube
that.
that covers anything and everything. So make sure you go subscribe to that. I've also been doing a fun little Hot Witch Club. It's called Hot Witch Club, bringing my Substack back to life. But I've been
Ooh,
doing
I have
it.
seen it. I don't know why I
Yeah.
reacted like I was surprised. I already knew this.
Really? But I've been doing it where you can do it, you can listen to it podcast style, or you can read it as an
Love
article.
that.
You can do it both ways. Podcast style, I do riff on what I've written a bit more. But it's literally episodes that are like 5 to 15 minutes, and I literally like record them from my bed after I've meditated and I just download what I want to share. And I've been doing that a couple times a week now. So subscribe to Hot Witch Club on Substack, Apple, or Spotify. Subscribe to Magic with Sadie on YouTube because I'm dropping all sorts of free tea all over the place. And what about you, Pam? What you got going on?
Slay.
Slay.
I am Velvet Snake Oracle on TikTok and Instagram. And I have tarot readings available.
Woo woo.
There's one for the busy people. I was going to say gal, but then I was like, I don't want to discriminate.
Busy witch.
The busy witch. Or even if you're not a witch, whatever you identify as.
Yes.
And those are fun. There's two options. There's one if you're busy, and that one is just like over email if we like chit chat real quick about what you want clarity on or whatever you're looking for. And then the other one, we hop on a call and we get to like dive in a little deeper about what you got.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. We don't know when this episode's coming out. I was going to say, also, we're going to go live. But it might have already passed. But if we haven't yet, check. We're going to go live together when we're together. But we don't know when this episode is dropping yet because we're trying to get ahead of ourselves. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
I am Sadie Olson and at Velvet Snake Oracle and at Giggly Witches to see if we're going live together soon or not. That's a mystery you'll have to find out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, witches. We love you and we'll see you next week.
Oh, I just hit
Bye.
myself. Bye.